Hello folks, my name is Rojo and welcome to Legend of Grimrock. Now, people who are familiar with the channel will probably be well aware of this game. My first LP, one of the first LPs I did on this channel at least, was Legend of Grimrock 2 when it came out. But, you know, I never actually beat Legend of Grimrock. And for those of you who aren't familiar, this is a sort of modernized dungeon crawler, basically. So if you think of older games like Eye of the Beholder, Wizardry 6, which is something we've done on the channel, etc., etc., like that, but a little bit nicer to play as far as the UI and general stuff like that goes. Now, we are going to go ahead and make some characters in this video, and then next time we'll actually get into the gameplay itself. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. Now, I'm not a masochist, so I'm not going to do old school mode, which will turn off like the map and all that shit. That's not for me. However, I will step it up and put it on hard. I will say that I've played through a fair bit of this game, but I think, as I said before, I haven't actually beat it. So it seems like, you know, now's the time. Now, we have a very particular type of playthrough that we're going to be doing here, and that is going to involve 4 particular characters. In this case, we're all going to be Minotaur rogues. Oh yes, it's true. This party is gonna have some advantages, some disadvantages, which I will explain as we kind of go along here. I'm just trying to get my portraits. It doesn't really matter. We can reorder our party anyway, but I like to do it this way. So there we go. No, that's not what I want. What am I doing? No. You need to be this guy, and then you, my friend. There you go. All right. So let's talk about game mechanics a little bit here. Just briefly, this game is a fair bit simpler and much smaller than Legend of Grimrock 2, and that is good in some ways, without a doubt. Now, we do have 3 classes to choose from: Fighter, Mage, and Rogue. Now, unlike in Grimrock 2, every class is sort of stuck with a certain selection of skill options here. So, the Rogues, we're going to get stuff like Assassination, which will allow us to attack from the back row, and do backstabs and stuff. Daggers increase our ability to kill enemies while wielding daggers. Dodge is going to give us better evasion and the ability to eventually wear light armor without penalties. Missile weapons lets us shoot bows and stuff real good. Throwing weapons, very similar, except for stuff like rocks and shurikens. And unarmed combat lets us just punch people in the face real hard, in theory. So, what are we going to do? That's a good question. I think we're basically, you'll notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of weapons, so I was thinking we would go for a little bit of everything as far as the weapon types go. Now, as far as our stats are concerned, strength is going to make us hit harder, dexterity is going to make us hit more often in melee, and also make it so we have a little bit better evasion, potentially, as well, which will prevent us from getting hit. Evasion is a little bit better in this game than Grimrock 2, as far as I've read. I don't quite recall myself. I did a little bit of research before I started this up. But yeah, Vitality, more HP, and Willpower, more energy, which is something we will use to actually attack people. We'll get a little bit fatigued, so to speak. And then our resistances are based on our dexterity and our vitality. So I think fire and shock are dex, cold and poison are vitality, which is why we have a fair bit of cold and poison resistance right off the bat here. Now then, this first character, we will call him Broussard, I think is a pretty cool name for a Minotaur. And we're going to give him, since he's in the front row, these two are kind of going to be our tanks, so to speak. We're going to go ahead and actually, we're going to pump up his dex a lot. Minotaurs, it's one of the downsides. They start off with a really bad dex. You can see our stat adjustments right there. +5 strength, -4 dex, +4 vitality, and -3 willpower. We also don't get very many skill points. Most races start with 3 skill points at level 1. And also, we consume 20% more food, which is actually, if anything, probably going to be the most challenging thing for us to deal with in this game, because if you run out of food, you don't regen. So that's going to involve a lot of trips back to certain healing locations if we end up starving to death here. Alright, so anyway, let's continue on with Broussard. We'll give him the dex, and I'm not going to actually pump up his strength. I'm going to give him vitality instead here, because I want him to survive in the front row for as long as possible. Now, being that he's in the front row, we don't have to worry about something like reach attack, as you can see down there in the bottom, which allows us to attack with melee weapons from the back row. You'll see what I mean. There's going to be kind of like 1-2 characters in front and 1-2 characters in the back, and the back characters can't attack without assassination or a ranged weapon or something. So it's something to keep in mind. But since we don't have to worry about it with him, I think we will make him our unarmed combat specialist here and just give him a point of that straight away. Now we have a bunch of traits, and this one in particular is interesting. It's Minotaurs only though, so we're going to find a few skulls as we go along. However, we probably want to stack them all up on one person, so we'll only have one person with this trait. I think it's our best bet. Now then, Fist Fighter is something we're going to be interested in. The downside of attacking with your hands is that there's really not much in this game to actually boost your fist fighting capabilities, I guess. So we need to kind of take what we can get. It's kind of gives us a little bit as far as our attack goes, compared to, you know, having another person who uses a dagger, for example, or another, like having a fighter who could use an axe or a sword really effectively. But yeah, we'll go with Fist Fighter, so that's going to give us a nice attack boost while we're unarmed, which will actually be really good early as well. And then I think I'm going to give him Evasive. So we're going to have two kinds of tanks up front. We're going to have an Evasion tank, which is going to be this guy here, which is partially why I increased his dex a bit. And we're going to have a sort of a more armor-focused tank, which is going to be this lady here, although she's going to have some evasion as well, I believe, as she sort of levels up. Now, I think that's actually everything we need to do for Broussard here, so let's go ahead, yeah, and we'll work on her. She's going to be named Darba, and for her, we are going to go a little bit harder on the vitality, because she's probably going to get hit more often, realistically speaking. So the extra hit points will be useful, I think. And for her, we're actually going to start her. She's going to be the one who uses daggers, but we're going to start her off with dodge, because this is the tree that eventually gives us the ability to wear light armor without penalty, and we would like her to have that sooner than later, basically. Now, what do we want to give her for traits here, though? She's actually got some pretty good resist going on, which is interesting. But I think I will give her... Let's give her healthy. That'll give her even more hit points. And we could give her tough, too, for even more hit points. But no. I think... let's give her... agile, maybe. Because that'll still give her a little bit of evasion to start off with here. And it'll help out her accuracy as well. That's going to be one of our issues... with these characters, at least in the front, is their dex is going to be kind of bad. So they're going to have a little bit of a harder time hitting things sometimes. However, for ranged characters, dex is actually not as much of a factor, which is a little bit counterintuitive in my opinion. But based on my research, yeah, throwing and shooting things, dex doesn't really play into it. So we want to focus on strength a little bit more. Now this guy, we'll name him Chook. And I think we will give him all strength and just enough dex to take care of his accuracy penalty, because we are going to get the guys in the back some assassination, because ammo is limited in the sense that once you've thrown all your throwing stars, so to speak, you got nothing left in your hands, and it would be nice for them to be able to at least punch something in a pinch, you know? Although we can certainly, in many situations, just walk over our stuff as long as we have some mobility to pick it back up and continue throwing and all that good stuff. So, we will give him, let's see, we gave him all that. We will give him, though, we're going to make him actually athletic, which is going to make him even stronger. And we're going to give him aggressive here, which is going to make him hit even harder with these thrown weapons. Now, thrown weapons also, kind of like fist fighting, not super good. At least in my experience, but I've never actually given throwing weapons a real chance either. Because as we skill this up, we're going to throw faster and harder and all that good stuff. So once we kind of get these 12 points in assassination, we're just going to put the rest of our points into throwing weapons with this guy, and hopefully it sort of works itself out. Now then, I've got, yeah, we named him, we got his stats all set up. I think he's good. Finally, though, we have this guy, and this guy's going to be named Ponzi, I think. Although I think, actually, you know what? I mixed up their character portraits. Hang on. Yeah, I'll reorder them later. There we go. This guy's Choop. This guy's Ponzi. That's better. I sort of figured this out ahead of time, but I'm flailing a little bit here, trying to get everything set up. Yeah, so Ponzi is going to be our missile weapon expert. However, we're still going to do the same thing and give him assassination, but we're actually going to give him skilled, so we can be a little bit farther along than our other characters. These +3 skill points could be very useful on a Minotaur. Now, in addition to that, he's also going to be our headhunter. So when we find some skills, we'll give them to him, and he'll shoot things in the face even harder because reasons, I guess. I don't know what the fantasy is here as far as him being able to hit harder because skulls, but you know what? It's fine with me. So, we will give him that 4 dex, and we'll also just pump up his strength, I think. It's probably for the best. I'm not going to worry about anybody's willpower. We will get fatigued eventually, and that will make us hit not as hard, but hopefully we can hit hard enough early on before we get fatigued that everything just falls over and dies and we don't have to worry about it anymore. That would be really the ideal outcome. But yeah, that's going to do it for this character creation video. When we come back, we're actually going to get started and jump right into the game. So until next time, my name has been Rojo, and thanks for watching.